Hello, this is my project, which is creating an aquarium. In this project, with the idea that we had to create an aquarium, I decided to create a cute, friendly, little, simple aquarium. In my draft, I decided that I will create an aquarium with 4 fishes, 2 starfishes, and some seaweeds. In developing this design, I used recommended site Replit as I found it to run my codes quicker than idle, having to go back and forth with changing the coordinates. The steps I took with creating this project is first creating an outline. In my outline, I included what I envisioned my aquarium to look like, including potentially the colors and size of the elements, the functions I will be using, as well as its purpose, and a few main codes that will be repeated. After that, I went on to start coding my project. And at this time, I will run my aquarium. Using my outline, I first went ahead and created a code to fill the page with the color light blue to symbolize water. To start my functions, I first identified the specific functions I will be using, which was repeated for almost all functions, like the pen control, movement, color, and basically erasable functions. With this, I started on my first function, which was first was oh sorry, which was creating the body of 2 circle fishes. I started with this as a way to use it as a reference point for the other components of the fish for later functions. After that, I created another main reference point, which is creating the main body of my 2 rectangle fish. In these 2 functions, I used color, size, position, and movement. Next function is creating the eyes for each fish. With the main body of the fish being first, I use it as a reference on the placement of each of the eyes, estimating around the coordinates I used with the first functions. I did the eyes by reusing the same function of the circle fish body and just resizing it to be smaller and filled with the color black. Next element I tackled was creating a function for the bubbles. Similarly to the previous circle of codes, I reused the same function once again, just resizing it and this time removing the fill color for it to give a transparent look. In this function, it took a lot more repetition as I wanted each fish to have 3 bubbles each. Next function is the tail. For this element, I used the same code twice, but changed its direction as 2 fishes face the right and 2 face the left. Next function is to create 2 starfishes. And finally, for the last function, is to create seaweeds. With creating all these functions, especially for the case of creating the elements for the fishes, I reference back from the previous functions in order to help me estimate the coordinates and make work easier instead of guessing random coordinates. This also helped me space out my elements. To trace the code in one of my functions, you simply have to look at the comments I left for each section, which explains what element the function creates, does, and even specifically what each coordinate is for. Lessons I learned with this project is realizing how convenient functions are when trying to create something that could take millions of lines of code, with the idea that with functions, it simplifies creating an element because you can simply put multiple coordinates parameters without having to have millions of lines of codes repeated from copy pasting, which makes it so organized. I also learned the importance of using previous functions for your next functions, because when it comes to figuring out the placement of the element, if you don't refer back with the previous one, you would have to simply guess its coordinates, which will take even longer. But in this project, I still learned how long it takes to precisely find the perfect coordinate. I also learned the importance of understanding the movement of the pen, because as I was working on triangles and stars, I found it quite hard at first, being that they have sharp corners, therefore the angle had to be specific and proportioned all throughout. Besides that, I learned that you need to really dedicate a lot of time as the project is very meticulous with the placement. And going back to this, I will just do a quick run of the section. So it starts off with filling the whole page light blue, and then first function, 2 circle body fishes. Second function, the rectangle fish bodies, and then next is the eyes, and next is creating the bubbles. Next is the tails for fish facing right and facing left. And next is the starfishes, and finally it draws the seaweed. As I was saying, I used the website Replit, as for me, find it more convenient being able to run code, which shown here, it's quicker. So, like this. So this is my line of code, and I found it way easier. Having to go back and forth, seeing the placement, and just really, it's very meticulous. Therefore, I found this program easier. And like that, this is my aquarium. Thank you.